With an industry now rolling in piles of cash bigger than both movies and music, it's resulted in all the largest studios crafting experiences with more overblown marketing budgets, nigh on demanding you pay attention to their latest project. Such visions for games are always backed up by thousands of hours of algorithm crunching to, in theory, create the perfect game. A refined sense of scope that produces the likes of Destiny 2 or Agents of Mayhem. But what if you want something a little different? Something a little more passionate, or dare I say it, artistic? There have been hundreds of games released since 2010, but have you played the best ones? I'm Rich from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 most underappreciated video games of the decade so far. Number 10. Rainbow Six Siege. A classic case of a game's launch day state affecting its reputation and approachability. The latest Rainbow Six actually went from strength to strength once Ubisoft started patching it to a reasonable standard. Now it's a tactical thinker's dream, a series of modes built on various infiltration techniques and team communication. There's the terrorist hunt, where you'll have to rid the environment of AI goons, or best of all, hostage, where opposing teams fight to attack or defend an NPC in some incredibly intense interior firefights. Siege employs the sort of environmentally destructive tech we've seen in games like Red Faction, meaning matches can go from intense who's gonna fire first standoffs to oh god, they're coming through the walls! Number 9. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. The forgotten Metal Gear. Peace Walker saw Hideo Kojima and co. decide to create what would be a full console Metal Gear and stuck it on a handheld. As such, those who played it absolutely adored it, but thanks to Sony barely advertising the PSP and letting it fall by the wayside, that audience started to dwindle fast. Feeling right at home on a portable console, the idea of bite-sized mission structures letting you drop in, sleuth around, hoover up new soldiers and exposition and jet off back to Mother Base is genius, and the perfect way to adapt a cinematically focused franchise to a smaller screen. Number 8. No Man's Sky. Hated for not being anything close to the version we would once promised pre-launch, even after No Man's Sky hit shelves, it still had a good chunk of content for those who enjoy a good cross-galaxy space trek. Of course, the reaction was so relentlessly negative, it saw Hello Games spend their hard-earned cash investing back into No Man's Sky. The version we now have is one with a mission contract board, base building, various survival mechanics, drastically increased shooting and ship combat, and best of all, an actual story that takes you from place to place. Yes, it tripped on its own shoelaces and faceplanted the floor at launch, but No Man's Sky is finally the game you originally wanted. Number 7. Watch Dogs 2. A sequel the world never asked for, then subsequently didn't pay any attention to. Watch Dogs 2 is actually an incredibly well-made game. Giving you the ability set comprised of stealth, shooting, driving, and piloting drones, main man Marcus Holloway has access to a huge array of powers at any given time. The best moment comes from realizing you can pilot your small ground and air vehicles to complete missions from outside the active area, a demonstration of Watch Dogs 2's various hack-focused gameplay loops working flawlessly. A much improved tone, great characters, awesome script, and gameplay that just feels fun to experiment with. This might just be one of the most well-made games Ubi have released to this date. Number 6. Piyo. Supergiant Games might be the best indie dev studio on the planet, crafting games that 1. Aren't released till they're polished to a mirror shine, and 2. See a team of genuine artists, both scriptwriters and in a visual sense, make some of the most intricately designed worlds in the medium. Piyo is nothing short of the best game they've ever made, something that blends choose-your-own-adventure plot decisions with almost an NBA Jam-like game, where 3 character teams have to dunk an orb in their enemy's goal to win. Essentially, the Banner Saga meets Final Fantasy X's Blitzball with gorgeous presentation. Piyo will be right up there vying for the top spot of the year come Christmas time. Number 5. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Just where the hell has Splinter Cell gone? One of the shiniest jewels in Ubisoft's already shiny crown, after the original Watch Dogs fell on its backside, we assumed they'd throw some more coals on Sam Fisher's fire. Alas, Blacklist remains the latest installment, the almost soft reboot feeling installment that replaced Michael Ironside's iconic vocals with one Eric Johnson, who, needless to say, didn't leave a good impression. Thankfully, gameplay was spot on, as this was a return to the Chaos Theory-esque espionage-first action, doing away with the forced story beats of Splinter Cell Double Agent and Conviction to focus on popping headshots and slinking through levels, leaving only a pile of knifed bodies in your wake. Number 4. Stardew Valley. It might be critically revered and beloved by quite a sizable fanbase, but has Stardew risen to the ranks of Harvest Moon or had the cultural pull of Farmville? No, and that's a shame, because one-man coding powerhouse Eric Barone's Little Farm Simulator has far more going on than just growing crops and wooing the local populace. It certainly does have all that too, but Stardew introduces a multi-level dungeon you can rank up and investigate, one floor at a time. Items and ore from within can be factored into your daily life, creating this constantly expanding loop of seeing just how much you can get done with a given day. Though it might sound mundane as hell, there's a profound sense of satisfaction within that Harvest Moon hasn't been able to tap back into for years. Number 3. Batman Arkham Origins. The Arkham game that even Rocksteady forgot when Arkham Knight's credits started paying tribute to everything that went before. Warner Bros. Montreal's crack of the whip has become a success in retrospect. Origins represented the publisher cranking out another installment despite Rocksteady not being at the helm. However, the title holds a brilliant take on the character that shows Bruce getting used to being the Dark Knight in the first place. We see him discussing various facets of the Batman persona with Alfred, being introduced to the Joker, and subsequently saving Gotham, one face-smashed goon at a time. Origins certainly fell by the wayside when word of its crowbarred in multiplayer surfaced, but this tale of the Bat has a ton to offer. Number 2. Titanfall 2. If the first Titanfall wasn't marred by such a disastrous exclusivity association with the Xbox One, it would have taken off like nobody's business. Sadly, even the sequel never got off the starting blocks thanks to releasing in the week between Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1, though that hasn't stopped a die-hard community logging in to play every month. Right next to Destiny 2 when it comes to the best first-person shooter combat on the planet, at any given time you'll be knee-sliding, wall-running, using a grapple hook, summoning a huge Titan mech and crashing it down on an unsuspecting foe. There's a level of kineticism and relentless energy to Titanfall that makes it immediately playable, and there's nothing quite like it. And number 1, Hitman. Easily the most overlooked and underrated of all the games this decade, IO Interactive's soft reboot of the Hitman franchise is one of the most technically impressive experiences you'll ever lay eyes on. Interlocking complex tapestries of NPC routines and kill opportunities, nowhere near enough people pick this up, simply because of its one map a month episodic release model. Now that there's a complete version available, this is quite simply the best Hitman in the entire franchise. The very reason we got one level at a time was because they were so huge. Each one can take a good afternoon's worth of experimenting, playing with items, pathways, and casual AI scripts. You'll find hidden ways to link your hits together alongside gloriously OTT, gruesomely hilarious dispatch methods like dropping one target directly onto another, all in pursuit of being the best/worst Hitman there ever was. It's that well designed, and it more than deserves your time. And that's our list. What titles do you feel took a back seat but definitely called shotgun? Let us know in the comments section below. News, lists, and articles await over on whatculture.com, and you can follow What Culture Gaming on Twitter here. I'm Rich from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.